Hello. So I did not know how to word the fucking title of this podcast. So 1,200 calories. Why eating less will not make you lose more weight, or why eating 1,200 calories will never fucking work. I don't know. Whatever works. But basically, this was actually inspired by one of my members who basically mentioned when she was struggling a wee bit. This is one of the things she said. She said, "I'll go back to eating 1,200 calories. That's how I feel I usually lose weight." And this is not the first time I've heard it. Like I said, I've been coaching 10 years and I've heard this, oh God, it's so many times. It's not just this, but it's like you insert a shit diet here that's only you can only last a few weeks with. And it's because when you're struggling, you default to what's easiest, or you default to what's worked before, should I say. But this is a statement I'm going to start with, and I'll probably finish it with as well. If something worked and then it didn't, it no longer... Sorry, let me say it again. I fucked up. Sorry, dramatic impacts ruined. If it worked and then it stopped working, it never truly worked. In other words, if my TV worked one day, right, and then stopped working the next day, it doesn't fucking work. It's broken. It's not working. It needs to be consistently working for me to enjoy it. And it's the same with your diet. If you can't stick to your diet for a prolonged period of time, and again, I hate that word diet, but if you can't stick to it for a prolonged period of time, you aren't doing the right thing for your body, because things like 1,200 calorie diets, I'm going to talk about it more specifically, they restrict you, but they restrict you beyond what's normal, and they restrict you to a point where you literally lose the fucking will to live. This is going to sound like a really bitchy episode, but hey, we're going for it. So here's a couple of points I wrote down. So 1,200 calories, if you're a normal human being, right, and eat 3 snacks and a meal, 3 snacks and a meal, 3 meals and a snack, that means you can't even have 400 calories at each meal, which most people will easily do 500 to 600 at dinner. Maybe a little bit less at breakfast, but 400 calories is not hard to consume. Even when you're going for your good protein and all that, it's quite easy to have 400 calories. Of course, there's ways of doing it. Of course, you can eat salad, but who wants to eat salad for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Do you know what I mean? People want to eat potatoes. People want to eat pasta. People want to eat some chocolate and have some wine. Limited yourself to 400 calories, and that's it. And you get the smart-ass answer after this, a smart-ass answer. This is usually the coaches, should I say. And they'll be like, oh, but they can increase what they eat by moving more. This is where the real genius of the human body comes in. So do you know how your brain's really stubborn and it's really hard to fight it and you lose motivation and stuff like that? And this happens in the bodybuilding world all the time. So do you know when they're shredding and getting on stage? Do you know those last few weeks, if you ask any of them, they feel like shit and I don't want to get out of bed, I have no libido and everything like that. Your body, when it's literally not eating enough food, is literally stopping you from working. It's like, I don't even want to have sex with my partner because I'm not got enough food. I don't even want to get out of bed. I don't even want to wash the dishes. I'm that tired. I'm that drained. Your body will literally stop you from moving. It'll make you lightheaded. It will do lots of different things to stop you moving. And it happens when people are I'm hungry. Hunger is literally a thing. It's trying to make you eat. But when you neglect that, it stresses your body out. You're like, why am I not fucking eating? Because you're stressing your body out. So your body gets lazier and lazier and lazier. So remember all that walking you did? Those 10,000 magical steps you do? That stops happening quite quickly when you eat less. So the extra calories you were burning by being an active human being, which allowed you to eat more in the first place, you're actually not doing. So not only are you eating less, you're moving less, which means you're probably burning less body fat overall because you're not being as active as you were before. And then exercise gets really difficult. So you feel sore all the time. You don't feel as strong. The gym feels like a chore now because oh my God, I can't lift weights. I feel like I'm always tired going to the gym. It just becomes miserable. And when you have that on top of your normal daily stress, no wonder you don't want to fucking do it. Do you know what I mean? So that's 2 points already, 400 calories per meal and the fact your body will make you lazier. I've already mentioned no treats. You'll have very little room for treats or drinks. So again, a normal glass of wine, like a generous home glass, about 200 calories, roughly 300 calories maybe. You won't have much room for that, especially if you're trying to hit your protein target. So again, if you're trying to hit your protein target of 80 to 100 grams of protein minimum, again, remember it's 4 calories per gram. So 400 calories will be taken up trying to get protein of that day. So you only have 800 calories left for other food and drinks and stuff. So if you have a glass of wine, you're now down to potentially 500 calories to actually eat food with. And you now can see where I'm going with this. It's just falling apart. It's falling apart. It's falling apart. Don't even get me started on eating out. When you go out to a Wetherspoons, for example, you will easily eat 1,000 calories. They say on the menu, most things with pie, chips, you name it, whatever it is, they're about 900 calories. If you go to McDonald's, you're easily doing 700 minimum. Most people higher than that. And again, there's nothing wrong with these, but when you have so few calories to eat in a day to lose weight, the world is literally against you. And this is literally why I stop people from eating less to lose more weight, because it doesn't work. I have nothing against doing like 4 to 6 week shreds where you do a more aggressive deficit, where you do like maybe 30% of a deficit. Okay, say you're meant to eat 2,000 calories a day to maintain your weight, 30% deficit. Oh my God, I've tested my maths here. That's 600 calories. That's 1,400 calories, right? So say you only eat 1,400 calories. It's low, but if you're only doing that for like 3 to 4 weeks because you're shredding for a holiday, you know what? Fine, it's 4 weeks. You can suffer for a bit because you're about to go on holiday and you want to look sexy and jacked if you're a dude or whatever. Anyway, you can do that, but living off 1,200 calories does not work. So when you go back to the idea of, I need to do this to lose weight, yes, you will lose weight potentially, but it won't last. So you didn't actually lose weight properly. Weight loss is when you lose weight and you sustain it. Like, that's how it works. Again, it needs to stay there. So this is where I'm going to flip into what I do with my clients. I actually do it in the opposite way around. I will figure out usually between 10 to 20% of a deficit for a client. So again, take the 2,000 calorie example of a person. I've lost my maths again. So say 1,800 calories to about 1,600 to 1,800 calories. I will tell them to try and, if they have the hunger, that is, eat as high up that calorie range as they can for the first 2 weeks. If the weight remains the same and or goes down, I will actually encourage them to stay there, because that means they can eat more food and eventually lose weight. To tip that over the scale, we might make them move a wee bit more. But at the same time, when you're feeding yourself with fuel and you're enjoying food, so from a gym perspective, you'll get stronger. You'll find the gym easier. You'll find the gym more enjoyable. From a lifestyle perspective, you'll have more energy. You won't feel as tired. You'll feel more confident in yourself. You'll feel actually just a lot more energetic and pleasant around people. You won't feel like you want to be hangry and bite people's heads off all the time. So with my clients, I always start off on the higher end of the scale. And if we have to bring it down, we'll bring it down. But it's actually a last resort. So even if I see people's weight stall for a bit, I'm like, right, well, let's truly look at what we've been doing the last few weeks here. Have you been consistently eating your calories correctly? Say if you've been eating 1,800 calories, which is 10% deficit, for the last 2 to 3 weeks every week, and you've not gained weight, but you've maintained weight, then all right, that's fine. So then we're like, right, we might need to drop it a little bit. Okay, so 50 to 100 calories. But then if I look at your movement and you're only doing 6,000 steps, which is fine, that's my minimum for people. If you're only doing 6,000, that's fine. I'd ask first. I'd be like, well, do you reckon you could do an extra 1,000 to 3,000 steps? Like, it doesn't have to be masses, but can you do an extra 1,000 steps a day? Yeah, probably. All right, then. Well, let's try that first. And you'll probably see a wee nudge in the weight just doing that. And again, the person gets to eat more, means they can enjoy more wine, they can enjoy more snacks, they can have more freedom around their meals, they have to stress less about what they're eating, they can go out for meals a bit more, they can feel better, and it's not that much of a cost. I would go movement before that. Only are you really, 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 really stuck do I then knock the calories down. And it gets to a point as well, once someone's lost a significant amount of weight, and again, that's different for everyone, I'll ask this question, I'll be like, why does losing more weight matter? As in, like, losing more actual pounds and kilos? Because at first that's what we focus on, and I don't blame people, because that's what I give people what they want early on. People want to see the weight come off, right? And naturally, when you lose pounds and kilos, and you lose a lot of them, you will lose body fat in inches, right? But losing pounds and kilos doesn't mean you'll lose inches, right? You can actually lose inches without losing pounds and kilos, because you're changing what your body consists of. You're maybe having less body fat and more muscle. No, one doesn't weigh more than the other, but you have more muscle in comparison to body fat. Okay, so you can weigh the same. The other thing is, once you've lost weight, and I've done a bit of content on this, once you've lost a bit of weight, some people are like, oh, well, I definitely feel better, but I want my butt to look bigger, or I want my arms to look a bit more toned, or I want my tummy to be a little bit firmer, or whatever. Ironically, getting smaller and losing weight is not the answer then. So again, this is another reason why eating less than 1,200 calories is not the answer, because actually the answer there is strength training and actually potentially eating more. Because eating more doesn't have to be thousands of calories more. This might only be like 5 to 10% more than what you need to maintain weight with. So in the 2,000 calorie example, it might be eating 2,000 calories. It might be eating 2,100 calories. And just a little bit extra, you'll fuel your muscles more. You'll get stronger, which will force muscle growth. And muscle growth is the important part for toning that most people don't do well, especially in women. And it's not women's fault. It's actually coaches who have fucking pulled the wool over their eyes for years and just sell them shit online. But toning is less body fat with muscle, more muscle underneath. Most of us can lose the body fat, but once we get there, most of us get stuck in this horrible cycle of just, we lose weight, we lose body fat, we put body fat on. We lose body fat, we put body fat on. Not many of us make the step into building muscle, because building muscle is fucking hard, that's one. But two, they don't fuel themselves to do it. And they're not patient enough either. They want the results quicker, because weight loss actually can happen in 4 to 6 weeks easily. You won't see that much change in toning in terms of building muscle for 3 to 6 months easily. And it's a really hard pill to swallow. So it's just one of those things, again, it makes you reevaluate. It's like eating less is not always the answer, because again, the amount of people that have been like, oh, I want my hips to look like this, or I want my chest to be that bit under my armpits, I want it to be a little bit tighter, I want my shoulders to look a little bit more toned. Like I said, once you've lost weight, most of you will still probably have bits you'll be nitpicking at yourself for. And that's, there's a mindset argument there as well. But I would argue, then okay, then you need to actually build some muscle and work, get stronger. So earlier on in your weight loss journey, say the first 12 weeks of your weight loss journey, absolutely, try to lose some pounds and kilos, try to lose some body fat, and then reassess, see where you're at. But do that eating as much as you can within what makes you feel content. So what I mean by that is don't force yourself to eat food, but allow yourself to eat as much as you feel you can and still lose weight. Don't force yourself to eat as little as possible to lose weight, all right? Take your time to lose the weight, then reassess and be like, right, this is where I am now. I'm maybe a size 10 or 12 now, or 14 or whatever. You've gone down a couple of dress sizes, right? And now you're like, right, well, I like that, but I want my butt to pop out. I want my arms to be tighter. Again, pick the body part, you do what you want with it. And now you actually have to build a frame. You actually have to build something to hold your clothes on. So now it's like, after those 12 weeks, it's like, well, let's look to the longer picture. If I strength train a bit harder and I feel myself, I'll feel better. I'll be stronger. I'll be less likely to have injury. I'll have more self-confidence. I'll learn new things. There'll be so many benefits to it. So have a little look outside of the eating less argument, because the eating less argument makes sense at the start until you actually do it. And if you're someone who's done it, I'm sorry for you that you have done it, but please don't repeat it, because anyone who does it does not last with it. No one sticks to that way of working, and I don't see anyone who lasts with that. But I would highly encourage women in particular, once you've lost a wee bit of weight, like I said, look at yourself and be like, what do I actually want to look like, or what do I actually want to feel like? And then have that conversation with a coach. And like I said, usually the answer will come into strength training in some way or shape or form, and that will take more onus, and that will take more priority of what your decisions are. So have a little think about that. Try not to fall into the angle of eat less to lose more. Think about more empowering yourself. Think about more about making yourself feel confident, feeling stronger, feeling more, I don't have to give things up. I can enjoy the things I love. Make your life more purposeful and make this fit your life rather than make your life fit a diet. So as I said, it may have worked before, but if it stopped working, it never truly worked. I actually remembered to come back to my main point. I'm fucking buzzing. So yeah, that might have been a wee bit of a bitchy one maybe, but it was just something that came to mind. And again, there's lots of different angles to it, but I hope that just gives you a wee bit of perspective as to why eating less doesn't automatically give you better results, especially in the long term. In the short term, maybe. In the long term, definitely not. So I'll see you around soon, guys. I'll catch you later.